You are listening to the So Now What podcast with Lana Manikowski, episode number 174.
So now what? These three words raced through my mind time and time again during my journey through fertility treatments. I tried desperately to have a child, but never was able. I yearned for a community to join that could understand my struggles. I couldn't find one, so I created one with the So Now What podcast. I love that you found us.
What is up, girl? Hard to believe that we are in the back half of 2025. July, here we are, ready to roll. What are you going to do this next 6 months? I know that so many of us get caught up in that start of the year, the goals, the words that we want to feel, the things that we want to do. And now, without judgment, is your time to say, am I doing those things? Do I want to still do those things? I think a lot of times we get caught up in this, like what we're supposed to do versus what we want to do, especially when you're trying to navigate life after infertility. So if you are looking in the mirror and thinking to yourself, gosh, by next year, I really want to be feeling this way, or I didn't know that this was going to be such a challenge for me, and I really want to do this, that, and the other. Decide today that it's okay to re-navigate and repoint the ship to where you want to go. That if you're not feeling like you're getting where you want to go on your own, that it's okay to ask for help. I think when I left my fertility journey, I had zero resources, zero offerings of help from anyone. And I thought that that meant I just had to do it alone. So I want to tell you that you being here today is a beautiful time for you to listen to this message that I'm about to share with you. Decide, is what you're doing and the way that you're spending your time how you want to be spending your time? If it's not, let's get on track together. I am so glad that you're here. And I hope that this conversation answers a question or a message that you've been needing to hear. Because I have a feeling that you probably spent many years imagining what your life was going to look like, and that you thought by now, by whatever age you are, by this month, by this year, you would have had it all figured out. If you're like most people that I know who are in the situation that we have found ourselves in, of being childless after infertility or childless not by choice, you probably pictured yourself waking up thinking that you'd hear cries from a crib or feet running down a hallway across the floor. You thought you'd be filling your weekends chasing kids and rushing them around from birthday party to soccer tournament, helping them with school projects. Maybe you believe that your calendar would be overflowing with milestones and obligations that made all the hard parts of trying to conceive and going through fertility treatments, they'd feel worth it because you had your prize. But when that didn't happen, and when all the treatments and the waiting and the hoping and the heartbreak still ended without a baby in your arms, it probably felt like the purpose of your life slipped away. And now here you are. You might find yourself getting up on a Saturday morning and the day stretches out in front of you. And instead of feeling like, oh my gosh, like this feels so free and exciting, you feel adrift. Instead of feeling grateful for time that belongs to you, maybe you feel suffocated by it. And it's so hard to explain that to people who haven't lived it, because on the surface, it sounds wonderful to have a weekend with no obligations. And it sounds like freedom to have evenings that don't revolve around homework or bath time or bedtime routines. And maybe you hear it from the moms around you. I know it's like, you're so lucky. I wish I had your time. It must be nice to have the flexibility. That's why I created the top 27 things people say when you're childless and how to respond. If you haven't downloaded it, you can go to the show notes and download it, because if you hear things like that and it is like nails on the chalkboard for you, I created a whole resource for the things people say to you with suggestions of how to respond to it. So make sure that you catch that. But If you don't feel lucky for all this time you have, if you feel like you would trade every quiet Saturday and every easy waking, slow Sunday morning to be exhausted by the life you thought you'd have, it makes sense. Of course, you feel this way. I think for so long, we judge ourselves for feeling sadness about what didn't happen for us. You spent years believing that motherhood was going to be this purpose. It was going to give you meaning. It was going to be the thing that brings you fully alive in your life. But nobody taught you how to want something else, or that you could want something else, or that you could be okay with something else. Nobody ever showed you that you are allowed to find joy and fulfillment in a life that looks nothing like you pictured. And here's something else that you might be experiencing, something that can feel even more confusing is that you might find yourself having moments of joy. Maybe you have experienced that time where you just pause and think, oh my gosh, I love that I get to do this. I love that my husband and I can pop in the car on a Saturday night and think we're going one place and end up another. Maybe you're traveling somewhere beautiful. Maybe you're curled up with your dog and your favorite book. Maybe you're sitting in a cafe or a coffee shop on a weekday morning, just savoring the quiet. And for a split second, it feels good, but then you catch yourself and it's like almost in an instant, like this guilt creeps in and you correct yourself and you think, I shouldn't enjoy this. What does it say about me if I'm okay with this life? Does it mean that I've given up on who I wanted to be? Does it mean that I deserted the woman I was during all those years of fertility treatments and the one who was on a mission to be a mom? Maybe you feel disloyal to your past self, like you're betraying the version of you who fought so hard through your fertility journey. And you feel like it looks bad to be happy in an outcome that you once feared and an outcome that you dreaded with everything inside of you. And I want you to listen to this and hear me clearly. It is not wrong to love parts of your life right now. It is not disloyal to love the woman that you were. And it doesn't mean that you wanted this or that your losses didn't matter. It simply means that you are human. It means you are capable of holding more than one dream or more than one truth at a time. And I think that we are raised in this society where it's like you can either be happy about it or not. You can still ache for what didn't happen, girl. You can still honor the one that you were, the one who kept trying and hoping and trying and wishing and praying, and also allow yourself to enjoy what it is like to be you now, what here feels like for you. You paid your dues and you deserve moments of ease. You deserve moments of joy and you deserve to build a life that feels beautiful to you, that feels easy, that feels flowing, even if it wasn't the life that you planned. And I know that doing this alone feels impossible sometimes. And you think that people judge you and they think that you should be sad and that you should be disappointed, and you fall into that. That is not something that any of us were prepared for. You keep trying to figure out how to spend your time so that it doesn't feel empty. You keep telling yourself that you should be grateful for the freedom. You keep wondering why it feels so hard to breathe into the weekends and relax and enjoy something that belongs entirely to you. That's why when I created Thrive After Infertility, which if you haven't heard about Thrive, it's my 12-week coaching program for women who are ready to stop feeling like their life is on pause. Women who are tired of just getting through the day. Women who want to start creating something that they genuinely love, because this idea of learning how to own your time is one of the 3 pillars of my coaching program, because I see so many women feel as though they can't wait for life to rush past them because it feels really heavy. You don't know how to enjoy something that looks so different than what you thought it was going to be like. I have 3 pillars in the program, one of which I call owning your time, because it feels suffocating to watch the next 40 or 50 years stretch out in front of you and feeling like it's this endless blank canvas that you never wished for and you never asked for. I know what it's like to have so much time you would have filled with play dates, college tours, birthday parties, family trips, spring break plans, blah, 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 all this stuff that you thought you were going to have. And your brain tells you that every time you start to enjoy freedom, you should feel guilty for it. But somehow being okay means that you've stopped caring about what you can't have or what you lost. And girl, that is simply not true. Part of what I do in Thrive is help women let go of this story, not act like you never wanted to be a mom, not act like, oh my gosh, like this is the life that I was like destined for, but to acknowledge the ache without making it feel like you can't feel joy. How to reconnect with your time in a way that feels expansive and not empty. How to build plans and commitments that make you feel present and alive and create experiences that feel like little gifts to yourself every single day and not a consolation prize for what didn't happen because motherhood didn't happen for you. It's so important to learn how to stop measuring the value of your days by how busy you are. And I know we live in this society that tells you that the busier you are, the more you're doing. Trust me, if my coach is listening to this, she knows that I am struggling with this every single day, that the busier I am, the more value I am bringing to my life. But what if it didn't matter? What if you don't have to be busy or compare your life to how somebody else's is unfolding and how they're spending their time? But what if you can decide that you are ready to shape something for yourself rather than something that shapes you? We have lived in this box of what women are supposed to be doing and how our lives are supposed to unfold and what we're supposed to be doing to be meaningful and valuable in society. But what if that doesn't matter anymore? What if you were able to start seeing your time as something that is a gift to you? Because you are allowed to design a life you love. You are allowed to celebrate the good parts without guilt. You're allowed to believe that none of this means that you've forgotten the woman you were or how much she fought for her dream. So if you've been hearing yourself think, I have all this time, but nothing to look forward to, I wake up on Saturday and I don't know what to do to make my life seem meaningful. I wish I could just feel okay about this. I am tired of feeling like I am failing at something I did not choose. This is your invitation to do something different. This podcast episode was meant to ring through your ears. And if you want to talk about Thrive After Infertility, I would love to talk about that with you too. I'm going to be starting enrollment for it in the next couple of weeks. Because if you're ready to stop drifting, to stop apologizing, and start creating a life that you actually are looking forward to, I'd love to walk beside you. You don't have to feel stuck forever. And if you're curious or even just a little bit hopeful, I'd love to invite you to book a free 45-minute Thrive call. If this is your first time listening to a podcast episode, these are the calls that I offer you so that you can talk to me about where you feel stuck, what you're longing for, and how I can help guide you into the next chapter of your life where you feel connected to yourself, you feel confident and more like yourself again. But before we wrap up for the week, I just want you to know this. You are allowed to love this life, even if it broke your heart. You're allowed to build something beautiful, even if it wasn't the story you planned. And you're allowed to start today on this second half of 2025. I love you, and it's never too late to discover your meaning. I'll talk to you next week.